Welcome to the White Lotus channel. Thanks for being here. Deck review. BurtofParadise Jund Food or Jund Food Control. It's a pretty interesting deck. He took first place with it at the Supercup. I'll reiterate that. So whatever my thoughts are, positive or negative on the deck, he went first with it. Obviously, there's always variance. You can win with just about anything, but a first place finish is worthy of review and consideration. So what do we have in the deck? We've got 18 lands, 4 ways to find more lands with generous int, 3 more ways to find lands with wood elves. Typically, not always, but typically, you're going to be fetching to get gingerbread cabin because this deck is wanting to create as many food tokens as possible in order to sacrifice the cat to the token, tokens for makeshift munitions for a finisher, sacrificing tokens to Fingered Marauder to gain life. So food tokens, which you already have you have foods with Golden Egg and Lembas, but you want to create as many food tokens as possible. So the game plan overall is to get to Fingered Marauder and makeshift munitions as fast as you can, and then finish off the opponent. This is and I'm going to stress this, when I've played against the deck before, there are very long matches. When I've played the deck, which I've only played one match with it, it is a very long and dirty road to the finish. So there's nothing wrong with that. If you like a style that is slow, grindy, a lot of interactions between you and your opponent, very specific card sequencing, then this is a great deck for you to try out and play. How it runs against the Gauntlet, I don't know. But back to the main deck, you have Golden Egg and Lembas for card advantage or card neutrality, Deadly Dispute and Reckoner's Bargain. Typically, you're going to sacrifice Cauldron Familiar and then bring the Familiar back to a food token. Usually, you're bringing the Familiar back on your opponent's turn in a blocking sequence, preventing that damage, and then just kind of repeating that over and over again. Sideboard, not going to spend much time on it. Duress for cards you need to deal with. I like to not have the opponent gain a ton of life. This deck can do damage. It just takes a long time. Diabolic Edict for the Bogles matchup. Terror. Suffocating Fumes for the Go Wide deck. Fairy Macabre for 1 land, Spy, and other cards you're targeting in the graveyard that you don't want to see come back. Cast into the Fire, the Glamour, and Nile Spellbomb kind of speak for themselves. Everyone kind of knows what they do. So again, I'm going to stress congratulations to BurtofParadise for winning the Supercup. And if you like a dirty, grindy, sequencing, multiple interactions between both parties, not just you taking all actions on your turn only, then I would highly recommend you try the deck out and see what you think. Let's get into some games. Match 1, Game 1, unknown opponent. Opening hand. We can keep a 1-lander because we have Generous Int, red and green. Typically is not what we want to go for first, but we've got munitions in hand. Not a great opener, but we'll see what we get. Witch's Cottage, so probably mono black Devotion. Sure enough. Don't expect Cauldron Familiar. It's going to be just all over the place in this matchup. On the battlefield, off the battlefield, sacking. It'll get some work in for sure, but it usually does in most matches. But we don't have to worry about sacking it because the witches will target it multiple times. Missing land drop doesn't help. This is going to be a tough matchup. Dealing with, we're not getting the Monarch emblem away from them. It's one of the drawbacks to the deck. It's not aggressive. It doesn't really have evasion. It's not what it's designed to do. It's designed to play defense and just grind you out slowly over multiple turns. Takes the cat away, sure. Grave Merchant's going to be pretty punishing when it comes down. if and when it comes down. Considering the games go long and they have the Monarch, should happen. Wood Elves to find Gingerbread Cabin, which is typically the land you're going to look for. But this is not a great hand that we're holding right now. Double Makeshift doesn't help. Snuff Out's worthless against the deck. We really just have one Makeshift Munitions, a Golden Egg, and a Lembus, even though we have 6 cards in hand. But we'll see. We'll go through the sequences and see how long we can drag it out for. We do run Cast Down the deck, and it's interesting of note, doesn't come up very often because any type of ring is not really played in Pauper that much. But even if we draw Cast Down, it's not going to kill a Ring Bearer because it's legendary. But you already knew that, I'm sure. Yeah, our hand didn't develop the way that we would like, so. But again, we're just playing this out. There's Gray Merchant. Gary's good if you can't deal with their board. I'm getting ready to go on to game 2. Match 1, game 2. Opening hand is, it's not terrible. We can still, at sometimes you'll be looking at hard casting Generous End, obviously. But we'll probably use it to fetch up some more lands. We've got removal, we've got card draw, we've got Fangren Marauder, which is the end game. So now we just need to stay alive and develop, always working towards what the deck is designed to do, which is to get Fangren Marauder and Makeshift Munitions. Speak of the devil. Opponent missing land drops. We'll take it. Create as many tokens as you can. Trying to get to 6 mana. If we can get a Quirion Ranger online with Fangren Marauder in play and a Makeshift Munitions, it gets kind of sick. But with them missing land drops and us developing the way we are, pretty confident we'll be just fine in this game. I'm playing Ent first, just creating more tokens. Don't need to get Marauder in play. I'd like to get a land drop to have more mana open to sacrifice things with Marauder. But it is what it is. It's kind of hard to lose this game. Make sure you attack first, right? And he scoops to Fangren because we're going to go ahead and play Cat. Fangren is really difficult to deal with. We can bring it back and do other things, but once you have munitions and Marauder, I mean, this is everything in game 2 that the deck is designed to do. Obviously, the opponent missed land drops, so we're not going to look at the win and think, it's the next greatest thing. But we did see the deck develop and play out the way it should. Let's move on to game 3. Match 1, game 3. Opening hand is decent. Wouldn't mind some removal, but we'll see if we can get there. We've got our lands, Cat, food to sacrifice to, endgame and Marauder, Wood Elves to find more lands. We'll take it. Let's go. Generous Ent there to help us continue to get to 6 mana, find a red source, find a black source, all kinds of things that it does. It's very good in this deck. Would rather have the other lands other than 2 gingerbreads to start, but it is what it is. Sack target for Cauldron Familiar. And the Familiar just for blocking and sacking. Usually you want your Deadly Dispute, Reckoner, Bargain in hand, but the cat gets a lot of work in, especially in this particular deck. It's one of the cards I would prioritize, and depending on what you're playing against, it may be highly prioritized. But, as you can see, Sign in Blood obviously doing damage to the opponent. Witches are doing damage. But it's just that slow drip of life loss that the opponent has to go through. It can be really frustrating. You'll see a lot of misplays at times when the frustration kicks in. Not that concerned with life at the moment. The deck stabilizes very well. Just creating another token. Sure. Need that land for the double Fangren in hand. I'm not really concerned about Crypt Rats, especially when you're at 11 life and we're at 17. Not that concerned with Gurmag Angler. It's really just a question of finding the 6th land so we can try to end this pretty quickly. But they're at 10. Losing another life off the cat. Preventing some damage. Gain some more life. I brought the cat in on my turn hoping that he would use the witch to do it right then. And I would hope to sacrifice it and find a land, but we didn't. Now they're at 8. Quirion Ranger make another token. Just really need that 6th land for Fangren Marauder. Sure, but we'll go ahead and bring the cat back in response. Now they're at 6. Just going to go ahead and use that token to get Fangren in play. Anything aimed at Fangren will get 5 life. Chainer's Edict is great because we can bring the cat back. Instead of sacrificing Fangren Marauder, we sacrifice a Familiar, gain the life, 27 to 5. Turn 9, again the long, grindy game. Wouldn't mind some more food tokens. Still not concerned with the direction the game is going. Now they're at 4. If we get munitions in play, it's over, which is the goal. Now he's at 3. Not blocking here, just we're going to win on our terms. It's basically over here. We'll get munitions in play, bring the cat back, sack the cat to munitions, sack Fangren Marauder for the last point. Life total going nuts. And I don't know if they have Reckoner's Bargain or anything like that, so I was just kind of waiting to use makeshift munitions in response to anything. He was just trying to end the game, so Yeah. Again, if you like to longer games with sequencing and interactions and kind of dragging things on, give it a shot. Play it out. Again, Bird of Paradise won first place with it at the Super Cup, and we'll see how you do. Thanks for being here. Stay safe and be well.